All right, welcome back to the best training channel on YouTube. I was kind of clearing the track out, making some room because we're going to be doing some block work today. I found a bunch of soccer balls. So what I'm going to do today is see if I still got a little bit of accuracy in these legs. For those that don't know, which is probably everybody, I grew up playing soccer for about 10 years or so. It was the very first sport I ever played. I started off playing soccer and baseball, then kind of transitioned into doing football and track and field. So we'll see out of these 4 balls how many I can make in that goal right there. Kicking in running shoes probably isn't the best, but we're gonna give it a go. All right. First one, I thought I could curve it a little bit, but I didn't. So let's try. This ball is like a smaller ball, so we'll see how this goes. Accuracy's off. Leg is there a little bit. We're gonna try to get this in here. Okay. Last ball. If I make this, you gotta like and subscribe. Right in the corner. Make sure to like and subscribe. Today, at the track, we're gonna be doing the block sprints today. I'm just gonna end up doing probably 10 to 12-ish reps on some 20-meter block starts. Everything today is gonna be about 95% effort. So working on really hammering down that first 5 meters, and then we're gonna turn that 5 meters into like a 15-meter additional just hard sprint to get some work in today. Last week when I was doing this, started off a little choppy, felt better as I was going. Then when I went to go edit the video, I was kind of watching the clips as I was editing them, and overall, form was kind of trash. So we're gonna work on that today. I've got some ideas on how I can monitor each rep as I go, and I'll let you guys see how I'm gonna do this as we go. But I'm gonna do a little bit of general mobility, do a little bit of warm up, and then we're gonna set up the blocks and get ready to knock out some 20-meter sprints today. All right, I got the long lens on today. So right now the camera's out on the field, even though I'm over here. So just gonna play with some new angles, see if I can't get some better views when I'm doing my training today. But finish my warm up. For the most part, I'm gonna do a couple hard 10s or like hard 7-step excels just to kind of prep for the block work that I'm gonna do. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I wanna do a minimum of 10 reps today on the blocks, maybe 12, 13, 14, depending on how everything's feeling. But first off, we got the freshies in. I'm excited. They're the same exact spikes as the last ones, but the mesh on top has been starting to get holes in it and tear away, because I've had those spikes for a little over a year and a half, almost 2 years now. They lasted quite a bit, but now I got the fresh white ones. Something about just new shoes, new spikes, everything. That smell is incredible. Ooh, these feel nice. Today's gonna be a good day. One thing I wanna clarify, when I'm talking about doing these at 95%, so all my block starts today are gonna be 95%. That doesn't mean that I'm putting in 95% effort throughout the entire repetition. I've got 20 meters that I'm gonna hit. What that means is I'm putting 100% effort in until I feel like I reach 95% of like what my top end would be for that distance. So I'm not going absolutely all out as hard as I can on each rep, but I'm also not going only 95% out of the blocks. Because I'm working on technique and I'm trying to build on positions, I still want to put high amounts of efforts while trying to hit those positions, because that's what's going to make it easier for when the positions get more comfortable. It just becomes second nature because I've already done a bunch of these repetitions at very high efforts. So it should then transfer over to becoming more of a habit versus trying to work on specific things. I got 20 meters. What I'm really going to be doing is I'm going to be coming hard out of the blocks, 5, 10 meters-ish, and then I'm going to try to get up to about 95%, through the rest of that 20 meters. What that really means is I'm just keeping it like one gear down. I'm not going to try to like go all out to that 20. I'm going to go out hard, and then that position where I think I would normally kind of like punch it and start going, I'm just going to keep that gear down a little bit and stay at about 95%. So I got some questions on that. That's why I wanted to clarify that a little bit. I'm going to do a couple hard 10s here. I gotta see how these spikes are gonna feel. I have a feeling now that I got these on, anytime you get new shoes, new spikes, they're gonna be a lot more stiff. They're not broken in like the ones that you were wearing previously, even if they're the same exact brand and model. So I think my feet might end up being a little sore after today, because these things already feel way tighter than my last ones, even though they're the same shoe, same size. A couple hard 10s here, and then we'll set up the blocks. Okay, first rep was garbage. Felt like I almost fell on my face. That was better. I'm gonna be using a different set of blocks today because I wanna see if they feel any more or less comfortable than the ones I used last week. And then however I feel today goes, next week, I'll either stick with these ones or move back to the other ones, depending on whatever's more comfortable. So the way I'm gonna set my blocks up today is I'm gonna go 1 foot from the line is going to be where the front of my block is gonna go. So just about 1 foot right there. Set my blocks down, make sure they're pointing straight down the lane. And then from here, I'm gonna go 1 foot, 2 foot, and this is where my first block is gonna go, right at that 2 foot mark. And then from my front block, did I just break this? You gotta be kidding me. Well, it looks like we're using the other blocks today. All right, take 2 on setting up the blocks. Well, I was gonna use those ones, but not anymore. So since these are a little bit shorter, I'm gonna go 1 foot back, 2 feet back. That's where the front of my blocks are gonna go. And because these are short, I'm putting that front foot at that front block. First leg is 1, 2 feet back. And then from that front foot, we're gonna go 1 foot back again. So blocks are set up. I got 1 foot, 2 feet to my first leg, and then I've got 3 to my back leg. The degree on each of these is gonna be about 50 degrees on that setup. And we're gonna start knocking off some reps on these 20s. All right, I'm gonna do the first couple reps as like additional warm-ups, because from the last 10-meter accel that I did to setting up the blocks and moving everything around, it's been about 5-6 minutes. So I might take the first couple here, try to get the engine revving back up again, and then we'll start hitting things real hard. But I'm gonna set the mic down. All right, let's see how this goes. First rep, trash, just what I thought was gonna happen. Still a little awkward to be in these blocks, so I gotta figure out, I might move the back leg back just a smidge more, but I'll do a couple reps here. So one thing I'm gonna do today to make sure that I'm kind of working on things and trying to get better specifically within this first 5-meter mark is, last week when I did these, I was editing the video, I was watching some of the reps as I was chopping things up, and I got to see, I was like, all right, this doesn't look good. Even though the session overall felt good, there's a lot of work that needs to be tweaked in order to hit the positions the way that I want to. So I've got my phone set up on this side, and I'm gonna be filming each of the reps on my phone as I do this. And then between reps, I'm gonna look at positions, try to figure out 1 to 2 things I need to work on, and then just focus on those couple things for the next 2 to 3 reps. And if I start nailing that, then I'll focus on the next thing for the next 2 to 3 reps. And if I can progress that to where we're getting out to 3, 4, 5 steps, that's fine. But what I'm gonna be focused on doing is working on one thing at a time, making sure I hit that one thing. And then if I can do that multiple reps in a row, then I'm gonna work on the second thing. So the first thing I'm focused on here is the projection angle out of the blocks. I wanna be seeing my hips and shoulders moving together and keeping my shoulders out in front of my hips. What I don't want to see is the position where my hips start to come underneath my shoulders too much, which means that I'm kind of popping up as I go. So from that bent over position, I want to see a drive where my hips look like they're pushing my shoulders forward. And if I can hit that position multiple times in a row, then I'll focus on what I'm doing on step number 2. But first off is going to be the projection out of the blocks. So we're going to work on that for the next few reps here. One thing I'm noticing is my hips and shoulders are pretty much at the same level. Maybe I need to get my hips up a little bit higher. That might be something that can help out with that projection angle. Overall, that projection angle is not terrible. I think it's gonna be more or less just getting comfortable in the blocks. So I'm gonna do another rep here. Hopefully knock it out really well. So based on what I've seen on the first couple reps, looking back on my phone, the position is okay. It's not great. The last rep that I did to the rep before, I kind of raised my hips up a little bit more. It looked like it gave me a better angle of projection off of that. So I'm gonna focus on keeping the hips up a little bit higher. But what I felt like I did is when I raised my hips up, I didn't have as much pressure into the pad as I would like in that 4-point stance. So I'm gonna try to find some sort of a happy balance between that, where I can raise my hips up a little bit, but still feel like I got more pressure onto that pad. Now that I've done about 5 reps, what I've been doing, taking about a 2-minute break-ish in between each of the repetitions. I'll go back, I'll look at my phone, and then I've been trying to work on the angle that I want to be at on that first drive out of the blocks. So what I noticed on the first couple reps was my hips looked like they were a little bit low. So reps 3 and 4, I kind of raised my hips up a little bit higher. Then what I noticed is by bringing my hips up higher, I was able to get a little bit better of a projection angle coming out of the blocks, but I didn't feel like I had a lot of pressure on the foot pads as I was exploding off of the blocks. I wanted to play around with my foot a little bit, and what I think happened between rep 4 and 5, rep 5 felt the best so far. So as I brought my hips up higher, I was losing pressure on the pads. So what I decided to do was kind of bring my feet up a little bit higher onto the pad. My back foot was entirely onto the pad. So before I was setting up to where my toe was kind of right on the ground along with being on the pad. So I put my back foot all the way onto the pad, probably about a ½ inch from the bottom of the pad. Front foot, I brought up just a little bit. So now that my hips are higher, having the foot a little bit higher onto the pads gave me a good amount of pressure that I could feel like I could explode off of both legs out of the blocks. So I'm gonna focus on that again for the next 2 to 3 reps. And if I can nail down that projection angle, then I'm gonna look at what's happening on step 2 and 3 as we get there. Because there's no point in focusing on the next step if you're messing up the first one. So we're just gonna focus on that projection angle, and then if we can today, we'll move on to step 2 and 3 as we get closer to the end of these repetitions. So a couple more reps and we'll review, see how it goes. All right, as I've been doing these, the last few have been feeling better and better. Just trying to get real aggressive off of the blocks. I feel like I'm pushing off really well. That first step that I'm putting into the ground is a little slow. So I'm trying to speed that up a little bit. I feel like I'm almost kind of casting myself out, really pushing hard, but then holding that projection angle a little too long because that's what my focus has been on. So I'm just making that second step feel like I'm almost tripping over myself. I'm gonna try to speed it up. Just be explosive. Don't worry about too much and just send it. Last rep, best rep. So accelerations today, I would say overall, they went well. I missed a few reps. I didn't film every single one, but I ended up doing 12 total reps on those 20s. That last repetition there definitely felt the best, which is the reason why I cut it off there. Is I got to 10, I felt like rep number 10 was a little sloppy, so I did 11, felt a little bit better, and I thought to myself, you know what? We're gonna end on a good one and really do something special for the last one there. So it felt the best. I didn't film it with my phone, so we're not gonna know if it is actually the best until I actually edit the video. And then now that the accelerations are done, we're gonna move on to some hurdle hops. So we're gonna do 5 sets of 5 hurdle hops with that pause in the landing on each of the repetitions. And then I'm gonna end today's session. God damn, everything's breaking. With some med ball tosses. Today's med ball toss is not gonna be like yesterday's. We're actually gonna send this thing to the moon. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I need one more hurdle set up here. The way that I'm setting up my hurdles is I'm putting 3 feet in between each of the hurdles just to give myself a little bit of room for an arm swing as I do these jumps. You're also gonna be kind of carrying yourself forward, so you wanna give yourself some space as you set these up. Last week, I had it at the bottom setting, which is 76 centimeter setting. This week, we're at 84 centimeters, a little bit higher, but I think with that pause landing, 84 should be doable to where we can knock out some really quality repetitions on this. So 5 sets of 5. We'll leave the mic right here. I found another soccer ball. All right, last thing I'm gonna do is some med ball tosses. From this line on the track to that line on the track is about 20 meters. I got a 4-kilo ball. I'm gonna have my toes pretty much equal to that line, and I'm gonna do kind of an underhand toss for distance, seeing how close to that 20 meters I can get. Maybe I go past it. I'm not quite sure how this is gonna fly. I just hope I don't hit the camera. I got it off to the side far enough where I think it's safe, but we'll see. I'm gonna do probably 5 to 7 hard reps on this, and then that'll be it for the rest of the session today. The good thing about doing this on turf is wherever I hit, it should make a little mark, so I'm gonna continuously move that cone around and see how many times I can get past the cone on each of these tosses. So 4-kilo ball, granny toss for distance. Ooh, that was right at 20 meters. Boom, keeping the cone there. 20 meters on the dot. All right, rep number 2. Let's see if we can't go 20-something meters. Oh, too high. Okay, we gotta get that trajectory angle down a little bit. Rep number 3. That's a good one. Oh, 20 again. Almost the exact same spot. You know what's crazy is Olympic shot putters like Ryan Krauser, Joe Kovacs, those guys can throw a shot put 23 meters with one arm. 23 meters. That's 3 meters past that white cone right there. That's insane. That's a good one. There we go. 2 feet, maybe 3. That was right there, based on that mark. The good thing about doing it like this is your rest is basically however long it takes you to walk down, grab the med ball, and walk back down to where you started. You could do this with a friend and just toss it back and forth and see who can get the furthest too. I think I got one more good rep in me. But I would say it's about 20, almost 21 meters. My furthest one today. Ooh, right at that 21 meter mark again. So that's gonna be it for today. Tomorrow, into the weight room, a lot of lifting, snatches, front squats, overhead presses. We're gonna do a lot of work tomorrow. So I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow.